This is Beyond the Big Screen podcast with your host, Steve Guerra.
Here is another Beyond the Big Screen teaser for episodes coming soon. I hope you enjoy and definitely tune in for the full episodes. If you want to learn more, you can head over to beyondthebigscreen.com. You can support Beyond the Big Screen on Patreon and Subscribestar. By joining on Patreon and or Subscribestar, you can help keep Beyond the Big Screen going and get many great benefits. Benefits include advertisement-free content, bonus content, and early access. The bonus content is great too. I will feature outtakes from episodes and live streaming episodes. If you join at the executive producer level, you will become just that, an executive producer of Beyond the Big Screen. You will be able to develop ideas for upcoming episodes, help find great guests, and of course have your name mentioned at the beginning or end of each episode. You won't just be a supporter, you will be a critical member of the team. Go over to patreon.com/Beyond the Big Screen or subscribestar.com/Beyond the Big Screen to learn more. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, send me an email to my email address, steve@a2zhistorypage.com, or follow us on social media by searching for A2Z History. I will see you next time Beyond the Big Screen.
Here's the problem. Now, this is the big idea that this book gets wrong, but it's not just this book. It's a lot of things I've seen. This big idea of the sacred feminine, that the Gnostic origins of Christianity or Judaism. Dan Brown has this idea that if you go back in prehistory, then there was matriarchal society and things were better, and you can see it all over the place. And they would claim that as Christianity came along and Constantine decided to get rid of the Gnostic Gospels in one fell swoop, the sacred feminine was suppressed, and all the different things in Greek mythology like Venus and Isis or symbols of fertility and reproduction were suppressed. Here's this idea is very attractive to a lot of people, the sacred feminine. I think, especially in feminist scholarship, and I'll try avoid stepping on any landmines here. And what backs me up is a friend of mine who's an archaeologist. She's a very strong feminist, but thinks that this idea is completely ridiculous, the sacred feminine in history. The reason the idea is attractive, because the 21st century movement of feminism, there's an idea that you want to think that this is how it was in humanity's innocent form, and then there was a conspiracy to back it up. However, and for example, in ancient archaeology, there's the Kukatani-Trypillian culture in Ukraine, where there's archaeology that goes back 3,000 or 4,000 years. There's plenty of goddesses there. People have argued, oh, there's only goddesses, so this is the sacred feminine. No, the ancient Greeks had plenty of goddesses, and they were perfectly fine being brutal and mistreating people all over the place. So, I mean, I get the idea that you want to think there's this kind of Garden of Eden state, but just because man's kind of early condition wasn't what it is today means that we kind of have to fictionalize it. I mean, for example, slavery goes back to the earliest ages of civilization, as far as I can tell. And we got rid of it, and I'm glad we got rid of it. And we don't have to pretend that there was some Garden of Eden state where there wasn't slavery. So, yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. When I said earlier that the Crusades seem to be reinterpreted for every generation, Kingdom of Heaven is a perfect example, because there's one point where Orlando Bloom is giving a speech that when he's trying to rally the troops to defend Jerusalem, he shouts, "This city, it's Jewish temples that Romans built upon, that Christians then built upon for their churches, that Muslims built upon for their mosques. So no religion has a claim to this city." And I think you're a medieval knight and you're going to rally your troops with a speech on 21st century multiculturalism. That's just like this is one of the worst examples I can think of, where an earnest screenwriter thinks, oh, people were so intolerant in the past. I wish I could go back and teach them the message of tolerance. I know, I'll project myself through time travel into this protagonist. And so, I mean, I know they meant well, but it's one of like the worst examples of presentism where you're taking contemporary values in the past. And I know you have to do that to some level because you have to make a protagonist relatable and likable for a modern audience. With the second son theory, how does that make sense? Where does this come from? And would we actually see this? I'll mention a little bit more about the motivation and talk about this idea. You wouldn't be motivated by greed to go on a crusade. The second son theory is that the first son has the lion's share of property and inheritance when he goes off. And second son theory does make sense in certain contexts. A lot of the travelers in the age of navigation, the age of exploration in Europe in the 1500s, 1600s are second sons who are freebooters. Maybe they'll seek their fortune elsewhere because they won't get their family's estate. The older brother will. But crusading wouldn't be a good way to do that. It's expensive. Many people had to sell their lands, take out loans from moneylenders, Jewish moneylenders, or rely on family support. They're going for the ideas of pilgrimage.